Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Afroshowbiz News, the show that keeps you in the know about all things art and entertainment from around the African continent. Now, to keep in touch, feel free to email us at afroshowbiznews@sabc.co.za. Also follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @AfroShowbizNews. Let's have a look at stories making headlines this week. The Royal Jewellery Museum in Egypt, capital of Alexandria, reopens. Namibia's Shishani makes it to the top 10 in the Radio France International Discovery Awards. And the South African Horror Fest marks its 10th anniversary. The Royal Jewellery Museum in the Egyptian coastal city of Alexandria reopens. This comes after a 3-year closure over security concerns following the ousting of former President Hosni Mubarak from power in 2011.
The Royal Jewellery Museum in Alexandria reopened on Sunday after a forced 3 year of closure. The closure was a result of the lack of security in the country. The museum keeps about 924 pieces of jewellery, medals and other valuables belonging to the family of former King Muhammad Ali up to 1952 when the King Farouk was dethroned. Mohammed Abdel Magid Hendi, the museum's manager, explained the real history of the museum building.
The palace was built in 1923 and the princes lived in it until the revolution erupted. And in 1964, security was imposed on royal palaces.
Egypt's Minister of Antiquities, who attended the opening of the museum, said the reopening of the museum was a good indication that security and order in Egypt had been restored.
The reopening of the Jewellery Museum in Alexandria has a very important implication, which is the return of security. The museum had been closed for the past 3 years as a result of the decrease in security in the country.
According to the minister, the museum was renovated between 2003 and 2010 and was opened in 2010. He said the reopening brings joy to all and to the people of Alexandria, and it sends a message to the whole world that Alexandria is regaining its energy. Alexandria is Egypt's second largest city and is the country's initial capital city. Most of the nation's history and heritage is based there.
Togo recently hosted a regional festival that brought together veteran and up-and-coming comedians. The comedy festival hopes to find ways that veteran and upcoming comedians could learn from each other and find ways to make laughter more profitable.
The comedy festival was aimed at giving a platform and exposure to new artists and also introduce audiences to local talent. In their stand-up, they cover a range of topics from politics, relationships, and everyday life.
I did the best I could, despite feeling tired as well as the stress associated with organizing the festival. But I am happy. I am very happy with the reception from the audience.
Stand-up comedy started in the West African nation in the late 1990s, but has also gained some popularity in the last few years due to the success of comedians in countries like Nigeria. Gabara started out as a writer and an actor, but wanted to find new ways to express himself artistically and combine his talents. New comedians need a lot of encouragement to get on stage and experiment. Some believe that this platform has helped them to develop their skills as actors and how to perform on stage.
Generally in Africa, stand-up comedy is an art form that has been neglected, whereas in other parts of the world, it's an art form that has a lot of complexities and is valued.
Gabara is confident that Togo will soon have thriving mainstream of comedians. For now, he is happy to make people laugh and hopes to own his own comedy club where he can host talented local and international artists as well as audiences.
South African female reggae singer Nkuli Dube has arrived in Nairobi, Kenya to perform for her dad Lucky Dube's anniversary concert. The concert is taking place tonight.
Nkuli Dube, the daughter of one of Africa's greatest musicians of all time, Lucky Dube, is in Kenya for her show, which will be a commemoration event marking the 7th anniversary since the demise of her father. The easygoing ethno-soul, jazz, ragga and reggae songstress was jovial at her first ever visit to Kenya. She even expressed her feelings by taking a couple of minutes after her arrival to dance with the Kenyan dancers who were especially waiting for her touchdown at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. While appreciating being a first-timer in Kenya, she was in the company of her backup singers Bongi Mabaso and Mary Kumalo. Nkuli Dube is known for her 2013 hit reggae jam titled Africa Awake.
International Fair dedicated to contemporary African art has returned to London with an extensive program. The Contemporary African Art Fair has launched its second annual show in London's iconic Somerset House.
The African Art Fair was started in 2013. It had 15 galleries, but this year the gallery was expanded to 27 galleries and receiving more than 120 artists. Toria El-Glawi, who is the project's founding director, explained how the art world had changed for African artists.
Well, you know, there was a point where, honestly, to get visibility, artists had to migrate and live in somewhere in Europe and the US to be able to practice, either for political reason or either because there was no structure for them locally. But I think this is, in the past 10 years, completely changing.
The exhibition runs parallel to London's Frizzy Week, a long-established contemporary global art fair. It allows collectors and artists to gather in one city for both events. Other artworks at the exhibition had political undertones, such as Peu Alati's work, The Missing, and panels showing patterned shapes of girls' heads. The female Nigerian artist's work had been selected by Lagos Gallery Art 21.
The work behind me is a piece she started in about, I think in November, December, about girls that keep getting kidnapped in Nigeria that nobody talks about. And this was before the big kidnapping of Chibok in April and the whole social media bring back our girls phenomenon.
The growth and popularity of the African Art Fair increased this year compared to the numbers of people who visited the exhibition last year. The art fair concluded earlier this week at the Somerset House.
Let's go for a quick ad break. Stay tuned.
De gleurmakers en kapst. Ja, de park is er. Kom.
Welcome back. South African thriller movie Four Corners has achieved a double win at the Santa Anta Fair Independent Film Festival earlier this week. The film competed with films from the USA and around the world. The film received the Best International Feature Award, beating out Tommy Lee Jones' directorial outing, The Homesman. The festival screened 10,000 film enthusiasts at the Santa Fe Desert Arts Center, where 80 films were shown. Four Corners is the 2013 South African crime drama about family lost and family gained. It followed the hard gang life of Cape Town, with one of the lead actors being Farah Khan, played by Brendan Daniels, who is a member of the 28 gang. He's released from prison, and when he returns to his father's home to avenge the death of his father, he kills the 26er who is currently living there and reclaimed ownership of the house. Shot on location in the Cape Flats, Four Corners was developed for several years. It was written by Hofmeyer Schultz and Terence Hammond. Four Corners will screen next week as part of the United Kingdom 20 Years of Democracy tour, with screenings across Wales, Scotland and England before going on a national UK cinema release. A young Egyptian artist is hammering her way to creating success with a novel way of making graphic images to hang on the wall.
Hammers and nails are often used for hanging up art pieces, but for one Egyptian artist, these tools make art itself. Amasala began experimenting with non-traditional materials for her artwork around 3 years ago and now makes artistic designs and images by hammering hundreds of nails into wood.
I began 3 years ago when I made a portrait of my husband and son using dots. Then I decided to turn it into something 3D to put it up in my apartment. So I tried different materials including pins and toothpicks until I decided on nails. I made it at home and people liked it. They encouraged me to do more.
The 29-year-old engineering graduate draws her designs on computer before printing them and hammering the nails into wood to create her pieces. The cost of Salah's art depends on how large the finished pictures are and how much time she invests into making them. Her works include iconic images taken from popular culture such as The Godfather and The Vendetta. Salah isn't done experimenting yet. She plans to try making art with a variety of other materials in the coming years.
Africa's leading photographic event has grown over the years. For all those photo and film enthusiasts, the annual Photo and Film Expo is back. It will take place at the Coca-Cola Dome from the 30th of October until the 2nd of November. Now, to tell us a bit more about the event is Matt Raven, who's organizer of the expo. Hello, Matt, and welcome to Afroshowbiz News.
Hi, Mr. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much for coming, Matt. Now, tell us a bit about what the Photo and Film Expo is all about.
Okay, the Photo and Film Expo started 6 years ago. This is going to be our 6th event. And it started as a sort of adventurous project just to get workshops together for photographers. There was very little happening at the time. There were no major events for photographers. So we got quite ambitious and rented out one of the biggest venues, the Coca-Cola Dome. And it took, and it did really well. And 6 years later, it's the largest event in Africa, catering to the photographic and film industry.
All right, now, Matt, who will be taking part in this event?
Sure. Well, apart from almost 400 brands being represented at the show, we've got 140 speakers, presentations, all unique presentations for visitors, which are free. So you come through, it's 100 Rand at the door to get in, but all the workshops are free at the show. So you can come through from Thursday right until Sunday and plan your schedules and make sure that you get to at least 30 of them.
All right, now talking about the workshops, what exactly will you be guys doing at these workshops?
Okay, it's mainly photographers, established photographers from around the world even, a lot of top local talent as well, giving advice on how to improve your photography, your filmmaking, and achieve the results that you want. They also dive into specific aspects of photography like underwater photography and fashion photography, boudoir photography, wildlife photography. So there's something for everybody. No matter what you're interested in, there will be something that will keep you entertained.
All right, now Matt, how are you hoping that this expo will be different compared to the one that you had last year?
Well, we've got a lot more live interactive content this year, where photographers can actually bring their cameras, take part in 9 different shooting studios, and compete with their images to win cameras and additional stuff. We give away almost R1 million worth of gear at the show through all our different exhibitors. So it's an amazing place to come through, share your talents and learn.
All right, now Matt, you'll also be taking part in charity. Tell us a bit about the Photos of Hope. What is that all about?
Cool. Photos of Hope is a charity that was initiated by the Sunflower Fund that we partnered with them from the start. And it's just about creating an awareness and getting photographers to submit images and the public to then buy those images, and all the proceeds go through to the Sunflower Fund. We've also got another charity called Ubuntu Help Portrait, which is not really a charity in the traditional sense. You don't give any money. It's a whole bunch of photographers that get together, go out into impoverished areas, take photos of people that would never have their photos taken usually, and then they return the next day with print and give it to these people. And it's so enriching seeing these people excited and getting these prints.
All right. Now, Matt, why do you think it's important to have such expos in the country? And is there maybe a demand for it in South Africa?
Definitely, definitely. We have people fly in from 30 countries in Africa to come to this event. So it's not only focused on South Africa, but the fact that more than almost 25,000 people come through to the event is just testament that there is definitely a need for it. And it's the only place where everybody gets together under one roof. People can come and just network with each other. They can look at all the brands available, because in your average stores you get about 10 to 15 popular brands. At the show you get almost 400 brands. So you can really compare and see stuff that you wouldn't see in the normal shops.
All right. Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. That was Matt Raven talking to us about the upcoming photo and film expo that will be taking place at the Coca-Cola Dome. After receiving a substantial number of votes, Shishani, a Namibian-Belgian singer, has made it to the top 10 in Radio France International Discovery Awards. Shishani has steadily managed to build a fan base not only in Namibia but also in Europe, where her guitar sounds have aroused the curiosity of music lovers. Shishani achieved stardom when she won a live music competition in Namibia titled Last Band Standing in 2012. Her song Minority was nominated for Best Single Non-Album and
Technology is all around us and is improving lives across Africa, like how young Nigerians are connecting to the internet. There are doctors finding new ways to save lives in Cameroon, and the South African public transport system that is now getting Wi-Fi. We have gadgets, apps and loads more, some of which play a big role in Africa's growth. A huge part of this African growth is technological innovation. To find out a bit more about social media and technology news from here in Africa and abroad, join me, Phumelele Zondi, every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC News.
You asked and we heard. From Monday, the 6th of October, your world moves from 11 to 12 p.m. to an earlier time, 9 to 10 p.m. And it comes to you live, Monday till Friday. We are SABC News.
South African Horror Fest celebrates its 10th anniversary this year at the Liberia Theatre in Cape Town.
The South African Horror Fest, hosted in Cape Town, is celebrating its 10th year since its inception in 2004. This horrifying event has gone on to establish itself as one of the city's premier Halloween activities. This time around, the terrifying film festival explores deep into its coffins to treat horror lovers to a showcase of the genre's oldest and most devastatingly gory flicks. Cinema goers will get the opportunity to see movies on the big screen with many rare films which may not even reach South African video stores now or in the future. The South African Horror Fest is the only inclusive event of its kind over Halloween season. It screens a host of exciting horror or thriller movies from around the world and also incorporates the live soundtrack performance to classic silent horror movies. The festival was established in 2004 in an attempt to fill the cinematic cultural gap. It has also not generated a platform for indie movie makers to get their work on the big screen, but has also inspired a wide range of local movie makers to create more daring experimental and exciting work. These scary short films will be showcased from Wednesday at the Labia Theatre in Cape Town until the 8th of November.
The film titled Skin Trade has premiered at the Villa Rossi Kempinski in Nairobi, Kenya. The event took place on Heroes Day this week.
5 popular Hollywood stars are in Nairobi for a tour of Africa and for the premiere of the movie Skin Trade. The stars include Michael J. White, Dolph Lundgren, Tony Jaa, Ron Perlman and Selena Jade.
Negotiation over.
Skin Trader is an upcoming Thai-Canadian action thriller film directed by Ekuchai Ukrantham. Lundgren and Jai play the role of cops who take down a human trafficking ring. After Nix, played by Lundgren's family, is killed, he tracks the responsible Serbian mobster to Bangkok, where they are involved in human trafficking. Nick teams up with a Bangkok cop, Tony, as Jaa, to stop the operation.
You should have killed me. How the hell can you sleep at night?
Lundgren told The Hollywood Reporter that when he finished writing Skin Trade, he had hoped to direct the film. His original plan was to play a co-lead along with a more famous actor.
Where's Rogovich?
Today in studio, we are joined by artist Frank Estevan, who was born in Brittany. Frank arrived in South Africa in 2012 after spending 20 years in Reunion Island, 4 years in Brittany and 2 years in Versailles, respectively. Frank is an animal lover and feels very close to nature. His recent exhibition titled The Secret of My Grandmother's Horns ended yesterday at the Baylis Gallery in Norwood. Hello, Frank, and welcome to Afroshowbiz News.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Now, Frank, take us through your exhibition, The Secret of My Grandmother's Horns. What is that all about?
It's a story about my 2 grandmothers. One, she's born in Spain, but she lives in north of Africa. And she left Africa in 1964. And my other grandmother is come from Brittany, west of France. And all together, one go and went to the bush and have a lot of things inside. She find horns or like that. And the other one went to auction and have a lot of jewelry and brooch. And it's a thing I would like to do with my 2 grandmothers. It's to mix my art with something in Africa, like horns and skull of animals, and my grandmother.
All right. Now, how does your exhibition relate to society?
Sorry.
How do you think your exhibition can relate to the public?
Oh, I think public like this sort of exhibition because it's to be again a new life for animals, and a lot of African people have skull or taxidermy or they love to do game in Africa.
Now, Frank, what is it that draws you to animals? Where does this love for animals actually come from?
I love animals all my life. I work and I have all animals with me, and I think it's a good thing to do again one more life for animals and do art.
Are there maybe any other places that you have exhibited at in South Africa?
Yes, I exhibit in February 2013 in Pretoria, but I work with some ice come from Dole. I exhibit in the beginning of this year in Parkhurst as well, and I work with all seed from Africa, and I mix with false insect. And now is my 3rd exhibition in Africa, this one with The Secret of My Grandmother's Horn. And I prepare 2 more exhibitions, one with ostrich egg and one other with old photography from people from the last century.
All right, well, Frank, time is up. I'm afraid that is where we'll have to wrap it up, but thank you so much for coming to Afroshowbiz News.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The fun-filled Cairo International Circus Festival, better known as Sir Cairo, opened its doors this week. Audiences were treated to a host of juggling, balancing and all-around entertainment. Spearheaded by the culture resource, Sir Cairo brings contemporary and traditional circus art from around the world to various venues across Egypt every 2 years. This year, the 10 troupes from across Europe and Arab world will showcase their talents in 5 different venues within the capital of Cairo. The circus has been running from the 17th of this month and will finish on the 26th. The circus is now in its 3rd edition and hosts troupes from a number of European countries. Sir Cairo kicked off by renowned troupe Gandini juggling and brought the experience of over 4,000 shows to Egypt for the very first time. The UK-based jugglers were followed by a performance by Bova from Spain, a comedy set composed of 3 clowns from Majorca. From ballet to breakdance, troupes entertained audiences with fantastic imagery and skills. Sir Cairo 2014 received support from the Culture of Antiquities Ministries, as well as the Tourism Authority, the British Council in Cairo, and the embassies of Switzerland, the Netherlands, and Denmark. In 2012, Sir Cairo featured performances by 15 circus troupes from all around Europe, as well as Tunisia and Egypt. Shows were staged at the Al Ghanaimia Theatre, the American University in Cairo's Falaki Theatre, Aberdeen Square, as well as venues across Mansoura, attracting over 50,000 audiences. Kenyan Afropop group South to Soul have been crowned the winners of the Best African Act at the 2014 MTV Europe Music Awards, one of the biggest global music events of the year that celebrates artists from around the world. They beat other African artists such as Davido from Nigeria, Diamond Platnumz from Tanzania, Tufan of Togo, and Goldfish from South Africa. They are now the sole ambassadors at EMA. Clinching that Best African Act title now gives South to Soul the opportunity to be voted in the Worldwide Category Act Award that will be announced at the 2014 MTV EMA in Glasgow in November. South to Soul are the first Kenyans to bag this award and are known for their unique Afropop music with songs like Sura Yako, Nishiki, Still the One, and many more. South to Soul are no strangers to winning or to international recognition, having been nominated for the Channel O Africa Music Video Awards, the UK's BAFTA Awards, and others. The EMA showcases the world's hottest musical acts annually, recognizing their talents. Now on sad news, one of South Africa's prolific photographers, Thabiso Sekgalo, was found dead in his Johannesburg home flat last week. He was laid to rest in Vosloorus in the East Rand this morning.
The contemporary art world has lost an important and profound photographer early in his burgeoning career, and those who knew him have lost a warm-hearted, thoughtful, and compassionate friend. Thabiso was not only a remarkable photographer, he was also a young man with an innate sensitivity towards the complexity of human experience. In one of his solo exhibitions this year, Thabiso challenged the perceptions about the notion of paradise and how we define it, making us question what we run away from and what run towards. Thabiso Sekgalo was born in 1981 in Johannesburg, South Africa. He studied at Johannesburg Market Photo Workshop in 2007 to 2008 and was awarded the Tieni Fellowship in 2010. He has had solo exhibitions in Johannesburg, Berlin, and Brussels, and had important group shows locally and internationally, including the traveling show The Rise and Fall of Apartheid. In 2013, he had residencies in both the Kerstenhausen Betanin in Berlin and at Hiwa and Durand Alpha Noon in Jordan.
We have now come to the end of our show, but watch the repeats every Sunday at 2 a.m. and again at 1:30 p.m. From me and the rest of the team, it's thank you and goodbye.